welcome back to my channel. This is Dom and another one of my updates on what I've been up to in this wonderful world of miniature wargaming. So yeah, I'm standing here in the cabin in the boot room. It's another hot day. I've got my Harlequin's top on because it's lovely and cool, frankly, and I'm grabbing a few minutes to do this video just between fairly busy at work, so that's just not very considerate at all. Don't know what's going on. Don't they know I have the nickname of Mr. Holiday? Maybe that's why. Anyway, what I've been up to, it's all been about the Italian wars, I'm afraid. So lots and lots of painting for the Italian wars. Now again, those of you who follow the channel will know that I am driven by games and playing with my toy soldiers. So my painting tends to mirror exactly what I'm going to be doing, or what I'm excited about doing. And given the new Warlord supplements for the Italian wars, deep dive here, if you want to see that, if you haven't already seen it. Yeah, it's sort of got my juices going, so to speak, to get on with the Italian wars. So let's have a look at what I've been up to. So as I mentioned last time on my update, I'm very excited about the new Italian wars supplement for pike and shot. In fact, I did a deep dive on the rules. If you're interested, you can check it out here. So it's basically restarted my paused Italian wars project, and so you're going to see a fair few of them, I'm afraid. If you're not interested, I'm sorry. So first up, this is a pipe block that will be used in the Italian wars. It is got a Florentine flag on it. Mainly they are the Perry War of the Roses mercenary figures. They work pretty well for this period as well. There's a couple of Wargames Foundry figures put in there as well. I just love the guy coming around at the front now. It reminds me of Flashheart, so I just really liked him. I put him in as the sort of the leader of this pipe block, and he doesn't need armor, he doesn't need things like that. Everyone else around him certainly does. So yeah, nice one to do. As I understand it, there wasn't much uniform in this period, but apparently the Florentine government, Duke, did donate a lot of cloth to allow the local forces in Florence to use white. So I've sort of focused my colour schemes for anything Florentine, and you'll see a few of them, because for some reason I quite like Florence as a nation in this period. But I focused around whites and reds, so lots of white surcoats and tops, and then red, because obviously that goes with the Florence flag. So there you go, Italian pipe block for the Italian wars. And then to go with those, I've started work on some crossbowmen. So I think majority of the forces I'm going to have are going to be arquebusiers, but I also wanted some crossbows to go with it. And the way the rules work, you can basically denote the fact that a pipe block has sort of supporting crossbowmen by putting a rank of crossbowmen behind the pipe block. So that's what these are for. They'll sit behind, or you can, I presume, actually put them in front. Probably makes more sense. Don't give an awful lot of shooting factors. I think it's just 1 dice of shooting, but it all helps to the firepower. So that's my aim, is to start to add in a few extra. I've got sort of standalone crossbow units and arquebus units, and we'll do more, but I just also wanted to do some that could represent the integrated missile men within the pipe blocks. So there you go, 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? Crossbowmen. And then next up, some light cannons. Now these are probably later, slightly later period than the pikemen we've just seen, but but I'm going to use them for the Italian Wars because it covers quite a long period. As you head into the latter period of the Italian Wars, they look much more like the sort of Spanish conquistador that we have in, you remember from films and books and what have you. And in fact, these figures are Wargames Foundry metals, and it's part of the, I think they call it the Portuguese Explorers or Conquistador sets, which I was toying with doing as a sort of little separate project, and then common sense prevailed and I went, no, I'm not going to do that. So I'm repurposing the Foundry metals that I got into the Italian Wars, and I think they'll work pretty well. As I say, some of the helmets are not so good for the early period, but for the latter they are, and the ruffle around the guy in red's top is probably not for the, definitely not early period. It's much more sort of high Renaissance kind of period, which is much later on. But I think it'll work fine. I like these models, particularly like the one of the guy, or the guy sort of kneeling down, just checking the aim. Just really, really characterful. Yeah, nice. They can provide, within the rules for Italian Wars, you can have obviously sort of heavy and medium ordnance, which can't really be moved, but also they did have smaller caliber guns that could keep up with the infantry, and that's what these are to represent. So it isn't just Italian Wars that I've been working on, although quite a lot of it has been, if I'm honest. I'm also carrying on with my Ancients project for the Mithridates book, because again, I'm really keen to get playing some proper Ancients. Also, I might have something else that I'm working on that score as well for Ancients, so gives me an opportunity to dust down my Ancients and also paint up some new ones. So this is a unit of, well, I'm going to use some Storachitae Peltasti types. They are Crusader miniatures, I think. Picked them up when they were doing some kind of deal, and painted them up in a fairly nondescript, sort of classical, well, I guess successor type look. Couldn't find any shield transfers of them, so I've sort of had to go at just sort of doing my own patterns. I mean, bearing in mind I'm going to use them as Hellenistic successor army, so probably they wouldn't have had much uniformity, so I've just gone with sort of freehand ideas, dots and symbols and what have you, which I think will work fine. So there you go. What's that? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 20 figures. Yeah, 20 figures of Peltas done. So next up, another unit for the Italian Wars. So this is a light cavalry unit. This is plastic figures from Perry's. These are the War of the Roses light cavalry unit. Interesting sort of repurposing, I guess, on this. I originally constructed this because I had one box left of the Perry light cavalry at the time, and I thought I'll make it into just another War of the Roses force. And then when I was doing it, I thought, you know what, I don't really need any more light cavalry. Light cavalry isn't something that really plays any real role in the War of the Roses, beyond sort of scouting, and so not on the battlefield, which is mostly what we're playing at the end of the day. And I've got a few light cavalry units, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to repurpose this now for the Italian Wars, so because there isn't an awful lot of difference. Now, some of the arms are actually not Perry's. They're from the Wargames Atlantic men-at-arms sets, I think, just because I wanted to put a bit more variety in them, and at the time I was going a bit crazy, putting arms on Perry bodies and Perry arms on Wargames Atlantic bodies, that kind of stuff. And so I continued when I was assembling these, and as a result I quite like them. They've got a little bit of difference on them, but they'll play a part. I've given them a Florentine standard, but I guess they could just be standard Italian light cavalry for one faction or one army or another. So yeah, nice to get them done. They've been sitting around sort of waiting to be painted for quite some time, so it's always I find it very satisfying to finish off and paint some of these things up when they've been sitting there for a little while. So there you go, 12 light cavalry. And yes, next up, some more Italian pikemen, another Florentine pike block for the Italian wars. Definitely got rather addicted on painting Italian war stuff, and it's weird because I painted, as you know if you follow the channel, an awful lot of Perry plastic War the Roses figures and boxes of bill and bow and cavalry and pikemen and crossbowmen, a few arquebusiers, etc, etc. And then I find myself buying more of the damn things for the Italian wars, so it's kind of funny. This is obviously another pike block from them, predominantly anyway. There's a couple of foundry figures in there as well. The priest with the cross is a foundry metal, and the guy in front is, I forget which set he's from, something like, it was either the Portuguese explorers or English swashbucklers or something, but I just thought I wanted something a bit different in the unit, so it's not just the same old figures, and having a couple of character figures like that I just like doing. So that's a third pike block I've done for the Florentine forces. I mean, the Italian pike and militia were used extensively by the French armies, actually I think, but also by the Spanish armies during the Italian wars, so they can find their way on either side. But I'm aiming to have a battalion of Italian forces for the game. So there you go. That is that finished. Oh, I just noticed that guy's got a rather bent. There we go. His pike got a little bent. Needed a bit of Viagra. So finally, something that isn't Italian wars. Hooray, I hear you say, if you're not interested in that period. So these are 3D printed terrain pieces from Parabellum Miniatures. The people who did those amazing buildings that I did a video on. I bought one of their accessory packs, I think they called it, something like that, while I was there, which had a number of carts. There's another couple I've got to paint, some fencing. You can see here there's a bit more that I'm not putting on the turntable, the well, the water butt and the signposts and all sorts of things, and I just thought they were a bit of fun to do. Again, amazed by the fact these are filament 3D printed rather than resin, and as a result they're pretty darn cheap, and paint up beautifully well. So they'll go in the terrain boxes, ready for suitable games that I need them for. But really pleased with how they've come out. Yes, I did warn you. Lots of Italian wars. Yeah, it's been a weird few weeks of just obsession really with doing it, reading up on it, painting figures, assembling new figures, picking up new more products to play with. So in talking about that, let's talk about purchases first. Purchases, well, I thought I was done with all the Perry War of the Roses or medieval box sets, but I bought 2 boxes of their always helpful pike or mercenary box set for the Wars of the Roses. I've assembled them all, so I can't show you the box anymore, but you all know what that looks like. I also picked up another box of the light cavalry for this period. I've already got heavy cavalry somewhere, so I need to assemble that. And I also picked up some of the Warlord Landsknechts, pikemen. So yeah, it's going to be more produced. I did actually get an idea of what I've actually assembled so far, so that's given me a clear vision. Now I've got the rule sets to sort of decide what to do next. And so I think I'm pretty much there on pike now. By the time I've finished off the last couple I've got to do, I think it's about 4 to do, that should be enough. And what I want to do is have enough for potentially to play solo games for myself, but also that I've got an army that could play sort of a division of, or battalion of Italians, a battalion of Swiss, and then some Landsknechts as well that could fight either side. I've got to embark on cavalry next, really. I think that's the main thing. I did find some really nice 3D prints at Wargames Atlantic did for gendarmes, French gendarmes, and I printed off 12 of those, and they are really nice. I'm just a bit daunted by the painting of them, so they're coming along slowly, so maybe in the next update you'll see those. But yeah, it's all Italian Wars, to be honest. Gaming wise, been interesting actually. We been a couple of weeks since I did one of these updates because there's been so many things going on. I haven't really had enough to assemble to show, and I do like to show a bank of work rather than just sort of bits and bobs. In terms of games, 2 weeks ago, Alec, the housewife's favourite, Wargames Hobby is his channel. He and I had a game. He very kindly basically did all the work, which was fantastic. So he did all the grunt work, he put together the army lists, and we played Brandywine from the American War of Independence, or Brandywine from the American War of Independence, and in 28mm, but we were upstairs in the small room, and so it's a little noisy. There's not always a lot of space, so we were only playing our 6x4 table. So he scaled it all down considerably. So the units in that, we were using the supplement, Revolution supplement from Warlords, and playing using the black powder rule set. And he scaled it all down so the brigades, I think, in that scenario were like sort of 8 figures. And he scaled it that way, and sort of to go with that, we did everything at 2/3 distances, so all measurements were 2/3, and it really worked very well. We had an absolutely cracking game. Went on for sorry, just been put off. My camera that I used to do this has different settings that identifies you. Rather alarming, it just came up with infant as a setting. Obviously thought I'd got very young all of a sudden. Anyway, so yeah, Brandywine, we played it out, and we must have played, I don't know how many turns, but I mean, if you watch the video, because I'll put the link up for that as well, it's a very long video because we played a lot of turns. I think it must be 10 turns, maybe more. Whistled through it, and it was a really good game. Very tight, very close, and I honestly think, without spoiling it, if Alec's dice hadn't been quite so terrible, can't colour it any other way, quite so terrible, he probably would have walked it. As it was very close indeed, and a thoroughly enjoyable game. And Alec and I haven't played for quite some time, and it was really nice to have a game with him again. So hopefully we'll get 1 or 2 more in over time. So yeah, thanks to Alec if he's watching this. Really enjoyed that game. Last week was back with Tony and Paul. And we got back into pike and shot. We went into the English Civil War. We played the Battle of Inverlochy, which is basically again, it was from the one of the supplements that Warlord produced, and it's basically a very highly trained, highly experienced, very good army of Montrose, very small, has to break its way through a Covenanter government force that's trying to stop them. The Covenanter force, which Tony controlled because he's got the Covenanter figures, didn't really have anything special. They were basically bog standard pike and shot type infantry. He had 1 gun, I think, whereas we had none. Me and Paul had a smaller army, as I say, but it was very much better trained. Had something called salvo, which if you got into close range, you basically got to re-roll misses. As a result, our volley fire was incredibly powerful, and that was the secret, really, was to get in close, and that's what we did. And it was, again, very good game. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I do like the pike and shot system. I've said it many times. So yeah, so that was that. Really good game. And so much so, I think we're going to have another game this week. We're playing, I forget which one now, but we're going back into the English Civil War, looking at, it's basically a game where This time the royalists are trying to break through parliamentarian forces that are defending. So there's quite a lot of royalists involved, so I've just been sorting through the figures and putting out figures all over the place for that, versus the parliamentarians, who are quite a small number of figures but are defending the ubiquitous hedge-lined roads and that sort of thing, which seems to be, if you look at the scenario book for warlords, there's pretty much every single one has masses of roads with hedges on them. So I need to bring my hedge box, basically. So that should be fun. Really looking forward to that. Again, as I say, I really enjoy the pike and shot period. I think it's definitely getting my excitement again. And given the fact the Italian Wars covers that book, comes out of that book, I'm particularly keen to get going again. So yeah, that's been fun. So gaming wise has been fun. Still haven't played any solo games here in the boot room. I must do that. So before I go, if you've managed to get this far, one thing, I will do a separate video on it, and I did put a little community post, but I'm not sure how many people actually see those community posts on YouTube. But I was contacted by Parabellum Miniatures after I did that video about the 3D printed buildings that I bought from them after Salute, and they were delighted with what I'd said about them, because I frankly think they're amazing, really good, and extremely good value for the detail and the fact they are 3D filament 3D printed. It's extraordinary. So they said, did I want to give away to my viewers? So I said, oh yeah, of course I would. I'm sure people would love that. So they're sending me one which I'll do a separate video on. So make sure you're subscribed and hit the notification so you know when that goes up. So I'll give one away to one of my subscribers. The other thing they said was, do you want a discount voucher? So I said yes please as well, because I know you might at least get your hands on some beautiful buildings. And they don't just do buildings. They do figures as well within there, so check out Parabellum Miniatures website. If I remember, I'll put a link in the description. They also told me that they are now extending their historical range, so they had very limited medieval buildings. Most of what they do is fantasy related, but Amy there said that they were planning to expand and adding things on a regular basis that would also be historical focused as well, so that's exciting. Anyway, if you want to buy some stuff from them and you want to use the code Boots on the Table 10, so all one word, Boots on the Table 10, number 10, will give you an extra 10% off anything you buy from them through the month of July. So get along there, have a look at what they do, have a look at their amazing buildings, and if you want to take advantage of that, Boots on the Table 10 gets you 10% off. Anyway, as I say, I'll do a separate video when the prize comes in and I can show it off rather than doing just from pictures. I think it's a good thing to actually show what it looks like and what you could actually win, the real item. So I shall do that separately, but watch this space. And if you got this far, thank you very much indeed. Thanks for watching. If you could see your way clear to hitting the like button and subscribing if you haven't already, because it's still about 50% of people who watch videos don't actually subscribe, which is, yeah, your choice, but it just would be nice really if you could. We do all this stuff, us community people do our bit for videos so we can keep each other entertained, and all we ask for is a subscription and a like, nothing much more. So if you could see we're clear to doing that, if you haven't already done so, please do. And have a great rest of your week. I think at least this weekend it's going to get a bit cooler here in the UK. Hopefully, I know Europe's been really roasting hot, so if you're in Europe, keep cool. Although I think next week it's going to get warmer again here, so we'll see. At the moment I have all the windows and all the doors open in the cabin, hence why you might hear a bit of noise from time to time. It's that or I fry, so sorry, bit of noise. Anyway, stay safe, stay well, enjoy your gaming, and I'll see you all again soon. This is Dom, signing out.